In this video, we're going to be looking at devoir and falloir. Is there much of a difference between the two? Let's find out. C'est parti!
Bonjour à tous et bienvenue à Coffee Break French. Moi, c'est Marc.
Et moi, c'est Pierre Benoit.
And as Pierre Benoit said, today we are looking at two interesting verbs, both of which mean something very similar. But this comes from listener Dan, who got in touch asking, is there much difference between devoir and falloir? Both verbs have got something to do with to have to do something or must do something. But there is a difference, Pierre Benoit.
Yes, it's a very good question, Dan. And there is a difference in the sense that falloir belongs to a higher register of language, and it's also more of an impersonal structure, whereas devoir is more personal. So I think we should start with devoir.
Okay, so let's look at some examples, and then we'll see how those same examples would work with falloir. But first of all, before we do anything else, let us conjugate devoir. It's a conjugated verb, so let's go through this now.
Je dois.
I must. Tu
dois.
You must.
Il doit. Elle doit.
He or she must.
Nous devons.
We must.
Vous devez.
You must.
Ils doivent ou elles doivent.
They must. And again, we could be saying I have to, you have to. It's the same meaning. Okay. So, Pierre Benoit, can you give us some examples here of how we would use devoir in some sentences?
Yeah. Je dois partir.
Okay. Je dois partir. I must leave, or I have to leave.
Très bien.
Okay.
One with you, with the tu. Tu dois manger plus.
Okay. Tu dois manger plus. You need to eat more. So there, I just watched that plus. We pronounce the S on plus because it means more, but we'll have another video about that sometime soon, I'm sure. Okay.
One with nous. Nous devons écouter CBF.
Ah, très bien. Nous devons écouter, so we must listen to Coffee Break French. Nous devons écouter Coffee Break French. Très bien. One more. Let's do one more.
One with elles, plural. Elles doivent prendre le train.
Elles doivent, so we've got the third person plural form, elles doivent prendre le train. They must take the train. Okay, so far so good. These are all using devoir, and they're all, as we see, conjugated just the same way as we've got the full conjugation of the verb up here. But what happens with falloir? Because falloir, you said, is impersonal, an impersonal construction.
Yes, so all our sentences will start with il.
So let's just explain what would happen. We can't quite conjugate falloir because it only has one part in each tense. But what we would use is il something faut, but we need to put something in the middle there. We need an indirect object pronoun.
Right. Yeah.
So
the first one, if it was like the equivalent of I, would be il me faut.
So something like it is necessary to me to do something. I must do something. Il me faut.
And we change it to il te faut.
Okay, so you must do something. It is necessary to you to do something.
And if it's a he or a she, il lui faut.
Now, this is quite tricky because what you need to remember here is this lui, regardless of whether it's a he or a she, because, of course, we need to use that third person indirect object pronoun, and it's always lui. So, il lui faut.
Okay, now let's go into the plural forms. Il nous faut.
Okay, and all the time, faut is staying the same. Il nous faut, we must, or it is necessary for us to do something.
Il vous faut.
Okay, same again. You all must do something.
Yeah, and a bit more difficult, the last one. Il leur faut.
Good. Okay, il leur faut. So they have to do something. It's necessary for them to do something.
Yeah.
So that's how falloir works. We'll just put falloir up here. Falloir works like that. And then devoir works like this. It's a full conjugated verb.
Yeah.
We've got falloir up there. That doesn't look much like an R. Okay.
That's it. It does now. That's good.
Let's see now what happens with these examples if we're converting them to the falloir. So let's look at je dois partir.
So je dois partir would become il me faut partir.
Il me faut partir. Voilà. Oups, voilà. Il me faut partir. What about tu dois manger plus?
Well, tu would become te, so il te faut manger plus.
Il te faut manger plus. Voilà. Now, I'm sure you can see what is happening here. We're going from nous devons écouter Coffee Break French. What's going to happen here?
Il nous faut écouter Coffee Break French.
Il nous faut écouter Coffee Break French. And last one, elles doivent prendre le train.
Il leur faut prendre le train.
So even though this might feel a little strange, it might feel a little bit that it doesn't quite work, but it is absolutely right. Il leur faut. It is necessary to them.
Yeah.
Il leur faut prendre le train. Voilà. Okay, now Pierre-Benoit, you said earlier that the falloir can maybe be slightly higher register. So if we were just chatting, we would be more likely to say nous devons écouter Coffee Break French or tu dois manger plus.
Exactement. I think it's maybe a tiny bit easier to use devoir rather than falloir, but both structures are correct.
Okay. Well, hopefully, Dan, that has explained the difference in how you use them and also the slight difference in register and how they are used. Now, if you have a question like Dan, then just get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. Just go to coffeebreakquestions.com where you can leave your question and we'll do our best to answer that in a future episode of our show. If you've enjoyed this, then please do give it a like and make sure you subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. You can click the little bell icon that appears and that way you'll be notified of any time we post new videos.
Et si possible, il vous faut ou vous devez mettre un exemple avec devoir ou falloir in your comments. Allez-y.
Tout à fait. We look forward to reading them too. Okay, that's it for this episode. We hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you, Dan, for your question. Et merci à tout le monde. Au revoir.
Salut!